Good morning, Bulldogs. Let me turn this light on. It's April 27th. It's Monday. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I hope that you got at least outside maybe a little bit Saturday when it was a beautiful day. I know yesterday was not such a beautiful day outside. But here we are, another weird week online, but we're going to continue to do the best we can. Now, this is mostly Block 7 watching today, so I hope you group of 12 are continuing to do well. So here's quickly some of the top stories from both the New York Times and the BBC. So today, the New York Times reports that more states are easing restrictions as pressure to reopen grows, especially states down south, Georgia, Tennessee, some Midwest states that are not as impacted as severely as we are. We're part of the New York City metro area, and we know that those easing of restrictions are not going to happen as quickly as they do in some of those states. The governor of New York, Cuomo, is stating that by the middle of May, some of the restrictions in New York will ease up for some like small businesses, but that's mostly in upstate where once again, they're not hit as badly as New York City and the surrounding counties. Our governor, Murphy, is in a group with those governors to discuss when and how they'll reopen. And the governor is supposed to talk today about plans for how and when to reopen in New Jersey. So something that affects all of us. So I'll be listening to that today. You might as well. If you don't, you catch my video tomorrow morning. I'm sure I'll mention it. The New York Times also is reporting the numbers. They said at least 3 million cases have been detected globally, but they stress how that's really probably underestimating the true number. And the global death toll has surpassed, unfortunately, 200,000, with about 50,000 of those coming from the United States. And there's about 5 European countries which each have suffered 20,000 deaths. That's Italy, Spain. Someone's opening the fridge. I think England just passed into it, France. Then, of course, we also have Iran and China with large death tolls. The Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson, who, if you remember, did suffer from COVID and was actually in ICU for some days, he said it is too early to tell when the restrictions will be relaxed in the United Kingdom. Now, moving on to the BBC, the coronavirus claims to be currently eliminated in New Zealand. New Zealand, the island nation, archipelago, if you will, not super far away from Australia. Their Prime Minister, Ahern, she gave the ways of how they said they maintain this and how they try to maintain this. So you might want to head over to the BBC and see what she and her country did for that to happen. Same story as I mentioned. Johnson is urging the United Kingdom to remain with their lockdown. This is an interesting story. Spain is allowing their children to go outside for the first time in 6 weeks. So even though you haven't been able to go to school or to stores and things, hopefully you've been able to go outside at least at some point if you have a backyard or maybe for a walk around your block or something. I know you can't really go into parks right now, but for 6 weeks, those kids couldn't ride a bike or a scooter or even like really go in their yards. I think how much harder, bless you, that would have been for my children. Those last days walking their dog in a wagon were so important. And what if they couldn't have done that? So here's a bit of a more uplifting story. So I want to try to catch some good news as well. And the BBC reported this man to the left, Captain Tom. He was honored with a 100th birthday postmark, which is what we would call a stamp. So he is a World War II veteran. You see some of his medals there. And he celebrated his 100th birthday. And he's still going strong, and he's raising money for charity. And he was doing laps, with a walker around this garden. And he wanted to complete so many laps to raise money for a charity. So that should motivate you and inspire you a little bit. Go over to the BBC if you want to read more about him. The person to the right is, I believe, a song and a charity. I didn't read all the details, but just a brief overview of who he was. Okay, so what are you guys doing today? For the 27th. Today we're going to do our last video installment of the Industrial Revolution, and then we're going to spend 3 last days on the Industrial Revolution. 2 working on novels, Hard Times. You may see a video I post before then of me and the kids doing a puppet show of it. I'll explain that next class. The Jungle, and then what will be counted as our test. It's going to be not a traditional test, but you'll see that 3 lessons from now. Then we're going to go on to imperialism and the world wars. So this is about social effects and how people's lives change from the Industrial Revolution. Think how your life has just changed now from this COVID virus. And one of the things that was an effect of the Industrial Revolution was certain diseases. So this is before the flu pandemic of 1918 that you've probably heard a lot about. I don't want to give it all away now, but pay attention and compare and contrast. Start thinking in your mind what was same and what was different. So there's just a Google form. There's 13 questions. Whatever grade you get on that is what you'll get for the assignment. If you have the Google form completed by noon today, I promise to have the grade up this afternoon. Also, National Poetry Month project that's due in 3 days. This Google form today should literally not take you long at all. I purposely made it short so that if you did not do the project, I know a lot of people still haven't done it, you want to get to it. And if you want to do a 4, you're running out of time. Basically, you'd have to jump on board the 30th, and I'm not sure if anyone got that already. So, see that. Go on Canvas, the top of this module, it says National Poetry Month contest or project, and apparently that's some toilet paper there. Getting some special effects here. But I give you all the directions step by step on how to do it. Also, look for examples. The beginning of April, the first few days, I gave an example of what the project should look like as far as the slideshow goes. I shared Wilkins Martinez. He did a very good slideshow. So you want to do the slide and the Google Doc, but I have examples of the slides. I'm going to give you a quick one here again in a second. Also, I don't think anyone from Block 7 is doing the podcast. I know if anyone, my other classes are listening, that's due May 1st. So please get on it. You will be assessed for one more project before the year ends. So if you did that, this will be one of them. So before I sign off, someone, and I did not catch who, this is from my honors block. They chose Ralph Waldo Emerson, who died, unfortunately, on this day in 1882. You see there from the dates that he was alive during the Industrial Revolution. Someone for blocks 4, 6, and 7 did put a poem for this day, but they have not yet put an image. That's why I'm not sharing it. So this student shared the Concord hymn, and then they put an image. It looks like of a doctor who was probably helping patients with COVID-19 who perished. And so somehow the student thinks that this poem relates to that image. In their Google Doc, I'll read and see how they connected the two. So that might give you some help as to your direction. Okay, I'll be on the computer today. If you guys have questions, shout out an email. Make sure you like I said, if it's a question on this, make sure you watch my video first on exactly how to do this. But then if you still have questions, obviously, or have anything else you want to say or ask, feel free. All right. I miss you all. I hope everyone will have a great week this week. And you're continuing to chug along as best as possible, that all your families and friends are healthy. And I guess that you have enough toilet paper. All right. So stay safe, everyone. Be well. Peace.